Hello, welcome. Drop your name in the chat if you're here. I'm glad everybody could make it. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight was, we've got 7 weeks between now and the end of the year. And at least, when I was thinking about it, what it means for most of us is that, everything's sort of ramping up, right? We have Thanksgiving coming up in 2 weeks, and then we have Hanukkah, we have Christmas, and we have year-end projects at work. There's just a lot going on between now and the end of the year. So I thought it would be good to kind of check in and give some suggestions, some ideas, and whatnot to kind of get through this season with as less stress as possible, and without overcomplicating it. And sometimes doing less actually is more, right? So, and here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to just tell you, when I talk about resetting your frequency, I'm not going to say, okay, let's just breathe, let's just journal, let's just do all that. Though those things are all very important. I want to give you some real tools to help you through this holiday season, and and some strategies. So bear with me here. So actually, I was just reading an article, and it was a study done on, I think, 1,000 participants, or maybe it was 750. It was either 750 or 1,000 participants. And okay, it was 750. And they found out that 58% of people that were part of this study, when they're stressed, actually doing self-care type of items, like bubble bath, journaling, meditating, those type of things, actually causes more stress for them. So more than 50% felt more stress when they were trying to do these typical de-stressing type of activities. And I know for myself, and I think I've commented on this or maybe that video hasn't been posted yet, but I've recently recorded a video where I talk about when I try and go do self-care for myself, whether it's a massage or something like that, the whole time I'm just thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? Is this almost over? And of course, obviously, then after the fact, you regret it. But so one of the things that actually does work in this study that they were talking about is when you're stressed, the best way to get through it is to help somebody else. And that makes so much sense to me, because I know when I'm having a bad day, or just, I feel like no matter what, everything's going wrong for me on a particular day. And in that case, I feel like my energy, my frequency is off. If you can get out and do something kind for somebody else, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be holding the door for somebody, right? It could be giving a compliment to somebody. Maybe help a neighbor, maybe make a dinner and bring it to somebody. Maybe just text 3 of your friends and say, hey, checking in, how you doing? How was your week? But doing something for somebody else when you have that nervous energy, that stressful energy, actually helps you more than just self-care. Because my understanding from this study was that when you're stressed, one of the hormones that you give off is oxytocin. And oxytocin is actually, they call it the cuddle hormone. And so you want to be around other people. So when you have all that stress, you actually want to be around other people. So use some of that energy, help somebody else. And that would probably help you de-stress more than, um, taking the bubble bath, going from the massage or something like that. So that was one thing. And the other thing is, Something that actually these are like simple hacks, I guess, when you're stressed that you could do in the moment. And meditation definitely works. But again, sometimes when you have all this nervous energy and you're just worried or you're stressed, sitting down and meditating, sometimes you find it very difficult. So if you can get there, great. And especially with, whether it's YouTube, all the different uh, digital music apps that we have today, if you can put on, a meditative frequency, think, type of music, that would help because music does bring your stress level down. But a couple of the things it talked about was a hack was cold water. Cold water on your wrist. Put your wrist and have it run under cold water right here. And it's because some of the major arteries run there. And it's actually that cool, it calms down the whole body. And I do believe this works. I have not tried it, but I only say that because there is this oh, I don't know what they call it, but it's almost like a wristband. And um, it's made for women who are premenopausal or menopausal, and they have the hot flashes. And it's basically the claim to fame is that this wristband actually cools down the wrist, and that's supposed to calm down the whole body. So this makes sense when it says, to run your wrist under cold water. And it says, just for like 30 seconds, not for very long. And another hack, which I have personally done, is when you are having a tough day or in a bad mood or sad or whatever it is, smile. Force yourself to smile. You cannot smile and be in a bad mood. You cannot smile and be sad. You just can't. You got to try it sometime. If you smile, you're just going to feel good. Hey, Daniel, how are you? Hey, Granny. No, don't be sorry. Glad you guys could make it. Just going over some tips and tricks to get us through the holiday season. And actually, I'm going to start this week, but go for the next 7 weeks. Today's just kind of setting the stage and how not to get yourself stressed for the holidays and whatnot. Um, so right now we're just going through some actual hacks, if you would, to kind of de-stress yourself. And I just talked about, forcing yourself to smile. By doing that, you can't smile and be sad or be mad or be any of that at the same time. So that's another way to kind of help de-stress is to force yourself to smile. Another way is actually mindless house cleaning. As weird as that sounds, and again, I have experience with this, whether it's doing dishes or folding laundry, just that repetitive um, action, if you would. Again, it helps lower the stress, helps lower that cortisol in your body. So, and that actually, the study showed, I was talking about a study that I had just recently read, and it had said that when you're stressed, one of the hormones that you release is oxytocin. And it's actually been proven that for 60% of the people in this study showed that, or it was 58%, showed that it, when you try and do like self, what do they call it? Just when you try and do your own personal stress relief, whether it's, taking a bubble bath or whether it's meditating, it just talked, it's better to actually, you can de-stress more by helping somebody else. So we had just talked about that. But another hack is, so we just talked about like dishwashing, folding laundry, and just really be in the moment when you do that. And believe it or not, again, I have experience with this. It will lower your stress. Another one was actually chewing gum. Chewing gum actually increases the blood flow to the brain. I am not a gum chewer, but it helps you cope with the stress. So that's another hack for when you are stressed. And then the third strategy is, you know, get outside. I talk about this all the time. I know Scott talks about this all the time. Daniel, I know you like to get outside. Granny, you're walking all the time. But I want you to take it a step. It's more than just getting outside. When you go outside, I want you to actually, do you remember when you were a child and you were in awe about everything, right? You're curious about everything. Just really look at things like you're looking at them for the first time. And I'll admit, I was running today and I ran by this tree and it had the red leaves on it. But something I had never noticed before is the veins within the leaves of that, the red leaf was yellow. It was the most gorgeous leaf. And I had never, ever, ever noticed it. And I run by it all the time. So, yes, get outside, but also get outside with curiosity and not just walk by the same thing you walk by all the time. Look at it. Just look at it with a different set of eyes. It always reminds me of what Wayne Dyer said. A lot of people say, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. It's actually the other way around, right? I'll believe it when I see it. You'll see it when you believe it, right? You just have a little bit of a mind shift like that. So next time you go for a walk, just look at something that maybe you haven't noticed before. That helps with de-stressing. So I guess overall what I'm trying to say is you got to manage the stress and you got to start from the onset, right? Connecting with people, moving your body, and just getting outside. Use your stressful energy in a positive way. Again, helping somebody else. And then another idea that I had talked about during this holiday season is, we always talk about gratitude, and I am a firm believer, you know, uh, gratitude practice is extremely important. But I want to do a little bit of shift on that too. What I want you to do is not just record maybe something you're grateful for, right? And it could be simple. It could be the slippers you're wearing. It could be, I don't know, fresh, clean sheets. It could be, no line at the coffee shop, whatever it may be. But instead, I want you to look at things that review your day and think about three things that sort of aligned for you and what I call them synchronicities. Like, and to me, I call those, winks from the universe, winks from God, whatever it means to you for that source or whatever. But, you know, I know, and I believe this is the way in Florida too. There's a stretch of road that has, I'm saying less than a quarter of a mile. There's just light after light after light. When I can get through all those lights because they're green, let me tell you, that makes me feel so good. But I also recognize it, right? And I'm just like, thank you, God. Thank you for getting me through that. Or again, like walking into a coffee shop and having nobody be there. Y Somebody holding the door for you. Just think of 3 things that happened through the day where it was like a wink from God that he has your back, and it just made you feel good, right? But take it another step further. When that happened, when all those lights were green or whatever the scenario is, what were you feeling? What were you thinking? Because when things like that happen, you need to understand what state of being you were in, what your frequency was. So, um, just think about it. So just take that grateful, practice of gratitude, just a little bit different direction, if you would. Just, try and remember 3 things that happened throughout the day that showed that it was in your favor, right? It made your day better. And, I think when you start, it goes back to that quote I just said. When you start recognizing these things, you're going to see them more and more and more. So, again, when you can recognize those things, it helps you feel good. It de stresses your day. So, like a friend calling right when you needed to talk. My son and daughter in law, Their little girl is 9 months. She just turned 9 months. So one of the things I wrote was, "When your child sleeps through the night," well, that's definitely a God wink because they struggle with that a little bit. But, so that's one exercise I'd like, to do. Um, and I talked about the feelings that you feel when that happens. So again, just to go back to that quote from Wayne Dyer that you'll start seeing things when you believe it. I think when you can start recognizing some of this stuff and you can see how, God or the universe has your back, you'll start seeing more of it. And so, and here's something that I wanted to share. And this is like real practical advice as far as helping you through the holiday season. And this I have to give my daughter credit for because she's having, let me just see. Absolutely. A smile. That brightens up somebody's day, Granny, 100%. And the other thing that I've noticed, like, when you do hold a door or whatever it is, and somebody says thank you, always, always, always say you're welcome. You're more than welcome. Most people do not. And that's something I just wish more people would say you're welcome, because that makes me feel good. But you're right, a smile. So my daughter, she I was at the grocery store today, and it was insanely crazy. You would have thought Thanksgiving was this week, but I think it was because there was a Patriots football game on, and everybody was trying to get through before the game started, which I don't know why, because they're not that good anymore. But anyways, we were talking about Thanksgiving, and she had said what she had did is she used, I don't know if you folks use AI or not, but you can, whether it's Chat or Claude or Gemini, whatever AI tool you do use, you can actually go in and you can ask it, to help you plan your whole Thanksgiving from, um, the menu to the grocery list. She's doing a Friendsgiving next weekend. She's in school and they'll come home the Friday after next. So they're doing their Friendsgiving next weekend. And it's for 8 people. So she was a little bit stressed about it. And instead, she ended up going into Chat, I believe it was. And she's like, okay, help me with the menu. And she told Chat what typical recipes that she likes that are traditional, say, in our family. And then she asked for some other nostalgic recipes. But so not only did Chat give her the recipes, um, and she was able to take pictures of, like, some of the recipes are from her grandmother. She was able to take pictures of the recipe and upload that to Chat. So, Chat included that in what he gave her back. So he helped her with the menu. He helped her with the grocery list. He helped her with the food prep as far as, okay, well, 2 days before you can, prepare the macaroni and cheese and put it in the fridge. Um, and then it also suggested what each friend could bring that would complement the meal. And I just thought that was such a great idea. Um, so it certainly helped. It gave her a timeline when to start prepping, suggestions for each friend, and then it gave her some other fun ideas on how to set the table and whatnot. So she was thrilled. I thought it was a great idea. She sent the whole thing to me. So for me, she was using a lot of the recipes or the items that we have at Thanksgiving. So I was able to make my grocery list right from what Chat gave her. I had to exclude a couple things. So that you could do, and it could, especially if you have a lot of folks over, um, whether it's for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah, it could help you with your time management, help you with your grocery list and whatnot. So that's a real good tool to be able to use. And I do have a prompt. She gave me the prompt that she used. So what I'll do, I mean, I could read it right now, but it's a little bit long. So I'm going to put it in the description when this live is over, once it gets uploaded. I will put it. So if you're interested in the prompt, go back to the description and um, and you can grab it. Not sure there's any other questions. Okay, so another suggestion. Again, this is kind of setting the foundation going into the holiday season, and it is movement, right? Again, we talk about this a lot, getting outside, and I know most folks on the live here, um, they all have some type of routine, being outside and moving. But it doesn't just have to be outside, especially if you're in a location where the weather isn't always nice. It could be dancing in your kitchen, turning on. And this was something else I was thinking about the other day about helping raise your frequency, putting yourself in a good mood. You must have a song that when you hear this song, it just brings you back to a time that you were just on the top of the world. I know we all have one of those songs. Um, so put that song on and dance in the kitchen, right? Go for a walk outside. We talked about that. And but try and look at it with a new set of eyes and just, I guess, just enjoy the moment. And I think one of the reasons being outside really helps lower your stress, helps raise your frequency and your energy and everything is because my opinion is God created the world, right? He created nature. Everything outside is created by him. And when you look at a tree that grew from an acorn, or you look at a flower or a bush or something that grew from a seed, and you think, oh my goodness, the essence that's in that, can you only imagine the essence that's in us? And I just think when we're outside, we feel closer to that. We feel closer to God. We feel closer to our source. And it's one of the reasons I think it's so important to be outside. The other thing is, I also think we need the sunlight, right? This is a real medical reason. You need that vitamin D. And I know there are supplements and stuff, but supplements do not compare to the real sunlight. And I know especially in warmer climates, maybe you can't be out in the middle of the day, but I think we're coming into the time of year that you probably could be outside more often than, say, maybe in July or whatnot. So the vitamin D that we get is important too. And I remember telling Scott that once, and he didn't say, I don't know anything about that, but I just know the sun makes me feel good. So um, a shout out to him. Yeah, chat can be a lot of help, Daniel. You're right. You're 100% right. I mean, I do have concerns about AI overall. I've shared that in the past, but we still got to embrace it. We still got to use it, right? And pray that it will bring us more good than not. So, and the other one I had here was playing with your pets. And I know Granny likes playing with Max. So, another one is fall cleaning. I talked about, especially like the dishwashing or the um, laundry folding, right? It's more of a meditative type of action. But I know when I can go clean a room, which my storage room right now needs a desperate organization, and I am going to get it done before my daughter gets home from school. So, but I feel on top of the world when it is done. So, again, that helps with de-stressing when you can actually accomplish one thing like that. So those were the four different areas, I guess, to kind of set the stage going into the holiday season to keep your frequency high, to lower your stress. Let me just see if there was anything. So I guess maybe just to sort of recap, and then I'll see if there's any questions. Just remember, stress is not meant to be handled alone. The best way to relieve stress is to actually go and do something for somebody else. It doesn't have to be this big organic thing. It could be something simple. It could even be a compliment or, like Granny said, a smile, right? Just helping somebody else, making somebody else feel better, that's going to lift your frequency, and that's going to, lower your stress level 100%. And then, it's up to you, but I'm going to call it your homework for the week. As often as you can remember this, write down 3 things that happen through the day, not only that you're grateful for, but that you felt was like a God wink, that you were just really appreciative that that happened and it just made your day or it aligned for you. Again, it could be something as simple as the traffic lights, like I talked about. Um, and use AI. Use AI to plan your Thanksgiving. Even, Daniel had mentioned that he uses it for different ideas for his lives or whatnot. I've actually used it for suggestions on gift giving too. I will put in a whole long description of the person I need to buy a gift for, and I don't always do exactly what it says, but the output it gives me, it inspires me, and it gets, my brain flowing, I guess, a little bit, and helps me always come up with ideas. So don't always necessarily take what it gives you, but it definitely can offer some inspiration. Oh, welcome, CL. Thank you for joining. And so, and then get outside and move. If you can't get outside because of the weather, you can play with your pets or your children in the house. You can do a dance party in the kitchen. Doesn't have to be the kitchen. There's a lot of different things. Just move. It could even be just stretching. Doesn't have to be this big thing. And so that sort of wraps it up. So let me ask, as far as I know, Granny's into the holiday season already, because I have seen her beautiful Christmas tree up. Has anybody else started thinking about the holidays yet? Or am I the only crazy one? Does anybody go away for Thanksgiving? Or does anybody host at their home? Uh, I used to do that. CL says that she started Christmas presents months ago. I used to do that when my kids were younger, for sure. Especially when, there was always a hot toy out or um, something. But I'll share a fun story. I don't know how fun it is, but when I was growing up, we never had birthday parties or anything. So, and but so when my kids were born, they always had birthday parties, probably up until they were about 15. So, but I found out from my daughters that they're like, Mom, do you know how stressful those birthday parties were? And we just had family over. It wasn't like, we went way crazy, but, the cousins and whatnot. And so my grandchildren, when my daughters have children, they probably will give my grandchildren any birthday parties because they said it was so stressful to them. So here I thought I was doing a good thing. So lesson learned. Oh, that's great, Daniel. Yeah, especially, I don't know. It sometimes just with the shipping and stuff, especially if you're ordering online, you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait to the last minute. And I don't know. I have learned a long time ago all these sales that, people like, I want to wait till a little bit closer because of the sales. I don't know. I think the best sales you're going to have are early November. And I think, and then the week before Black Friday, prices actually increase a little bit. And then they slash them, for that Black Friday weekend. But at least this is what I was told by, I used to sell retail products on Amazon. So I would go and I built a relationship with some of these women to the different stores that I went. And that's what they did in this particular store, was that all the good sales were the first couple of weeks of November. And then they would raise prices just to slash them for Black Friday. So it's good to do it early. Oh, Granny, you don't need to go anywhere with that granddaughter of yours. So if you get to spend it with her, to me, that's heaven. And like I said, my granddaughter is 9 months old now, and every moment I get, yeah, I feel I don't spend enough time with her, but I get to see her once a week or so, sometimes twice. But I love every moment of it, especially now she's getting a little bit of her personality. So it's great. And she recognizes me. So it's awesome. So yeah, I need to, do you have a website, or just, do you have a YouTube? I got to check out some of your art pieces. You talk a lot about them. And I know we were talking about beach glass the other day, and you were saying that you collect sand dollars. My daughter used to collect sand dollars. It was her second favorite thing behind the beach glass that we would collect. And I believe I still have a whole pail of them from a beach up in Maine that we went to one year. I think my most favorite food for Thanksgiving is um, stuffing. Probably weird, but I love stuffing. I loved my mother-in-law's stuffing. Oh, it was amazing. Amazing. So we're trying to, my mother-in-law passed 3 years ago. So we've been trying to perfect her recipes, and she was an amazing cook. She definitely was an amazing cook. Okay, I'm going to have to check out your channel. Yeah, stuffing, and she puts the chestnuts in it. Oh, love it. Love it. Ooh, a no sugar apple pie. Apple pie is one of my favorites. That and pumpkin, I can't decide on. So what do you use for the sweetness of the apples? Like if you don't put any sugar in, you must use cinnamon and stuff, but what do you put as a substitute? Or do you not put anything and it still comes out okay? I know we make applesauce without any sugar in it, and it comes out wonderful. Ah, pecan pie. Yes. Just cinnamon and spices. Okay. With no sugar. I'll have to tell my husband that. Maybe he'll try it. He is the apple pie maker. And he's an engineer. So if you guys have an engineer in your life, I mean, everything is perfection with him, right? Including the dough. He cuts the top crust, I don't know, with this pie wheel thing or whatever. They're all like measured perfectly apart, and then he lattices them and weaves them in and out. And the trick is to mix the types of apples. Oh, Honeycrisp is my favorite, but I thought you always had to cook with Cortland. Is that not true? You can use, I was always under the impression that for applesauce you needed Max, but for like apple pies you needed Cortland. Maybe that's just what my mother-in-law did. So yeah, Honeycrisp. That is the only apple I'll eat. So I don't know where it was my whole life, because I feel like I only found it about, I don't know, maybe 8, 10 years ago. Okay, I'm gonna have to tell him. See if he can look up a recipe. Typically, we'll have Thanksgiving around 2, 3 in the afternoon, but my daughter's boyfriend is flying in a lot later this year, so we may not eat till like 5-ish this year, but typically mid-afternoon. Growing up, noon, yeah. We ate at noon growing up as a kid. It's snowing outside. Is this your first snow, Daniel? I am. Snow's pretty, but I'm not ready for it. I'm definitely not ready for it. We still have too many leaves on the trees here. We got to get all those down and picked up before the snow covers our yard. 85 is warm. When does it start cooling down? Or does it never cool down? I have a friend who lives in oh my goodness, Palm Coast, and she said it started to get cooler. So I don't know where Palm Coast is compared to where you are, Granny. Maybe you're further south. Does anybody have any I don't know, traditions that are non-negotiable that you do every year? Whether it's a tree lighting that you go to or midnight mass? Is there anything that you definitely have to do every year? So Danielle, I think you and I are the only ones that see snow here. We got a lot of Floridians. Well, Granny, you said that you have a home or a farm, I think you said, in Ohio. So they get snow there, I believe, correct? Do you ever go up to the farm when it's snowing? Or do you avoid it during the winter months? Oh, that's such a great idea. We actually measured, we have these bifold doors in our first floor bathroom where the washer and dryer are. And we used to measure our daughters. We didn't do it for my son. I don't know why. Maybe because he just sprouted up so quickly. But we would measure them every year. And we still have all their measurements on the door. So when you open up the door to do the laundry, you see all their measurements. So okay. Okay. So you do go up during winter months. So Daniel, you just uploaded on your channel, on your DG Outdoor channel, you just uploaded a podcast? I'll have to check that out. So what type of ornaments do you make, CL? Are they like glass bulbs? Do you make them out of the sand dollars? Ooh, on when you say paint on wood, do you mean like driftwood or cut pieces of wood? You are definitely a woman after my own heart. I love driftwood. Little tree circles. I guess I don't know what that is. Let me just look here. Okay. Okay. And do you paint them? Do you have I need to go check out your channel. Daniel, you had said at one time, I think you said your fiance also had a YouTube channel. So when you say the kids, CL, your kids, grandkids, which kids? What a great idea out of elves. I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting the chat slow. I apologize if there seems to be a lag because everybody's responding to my questions. Might be me. Put on our favorite Christmas music and couch, dance and sing. And oh my goodness, Daniel, I love that. I love that. I love that you do that. Ah, you still have a boy at home. That's awesome. Yeah, I miss we my daughter still comes home for like holidays and in between semesters, but I don't know if she'll ever move back home because her and her boyfriend and they will get engaged. Um, Want to move to Boulder when she graduates. So we'll see. Such great ideas. I love that. So, Daniel, you said that you were on a podcast as a guest speaker. Whose podcast was it? So, Granny, you say you love to have stress-free holidays and enjoy them your way. How do you keep the stress at bay? Give me an idea of something that you do. I'm always open to new ideas. Okay. Danielle, I'm gonna have to check out her channel. I thought I read it maybe in your about section, but I couldn't find her channel, so I'll have to go look again. And that, Granny, that's a great philosophy to live by for sure. Absolutely. You'll never please everybody. Kind of goes back to when I say, you need to take care of yourself. You need to fill your own cup. You need to fill your own well. Otherwise, there'll never be anything, you know, any water for anybody else. So I like that. Shop early. You're another early shopper. Yes. Again, I used to start, I think September. I usually would start around September. I have not started yet this year. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have a couple things, but I really haven't started yet this year. My son and daughter-in-law, they do not want me to fill up their house. So I can't buy the little one too much. Having your closet, oh, yeah, closet art space set up. So did you turn like a closet into like a storage area for all your art supplies? Oh, actually, yes, Granny. I saw you one of your videos. I believe you were also making ornaments. You were painting. Hopefully you got those finished, or at least well underway. Oh, okay. That was a good idea. Yeah, I have to admit I was one of those granny that would try for the perfect Christmas photo, the perfect um but I learned. I learned. Well, folks, I think I'll let you guys go. I'll give you 10 minutes back as I used to say when I was hosting my meetings. But I am very, very grateful for everybody who showed up. And if you are interested in that AI prompt, I will put that in the description. Um, Otherwise, we'll continue this series, if you would, next Sunday. Uh, so, thank you guys. I appreciate you. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you throughout the week. Bye.